Honorable Men Discord. War between LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. Let's talk about it. So let's get straight into it. As we all know, there's tension between LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. The question is, where did all of this stem from? Some may say that Stephen A. Smith has been hating on LeBron James. Others may say it stems from Stephen A. Smith's comments about LeBron James' son, Bronny. But let's let Stephen A. Smith explain what's going on with that. And what I have queued up to the side is Stephen A. Smith explaining where this all began. So let's get into it.
We don't get along. And there's a multitude of reasons why. I've alluded to some of them, but we know what the biggest reason is. I ain't Shannon Sharp. It ain't GOAT status this way. My GOAT is Michael Jordan. 35,000 points, eclipsing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with over 38,000, ultimately 40,000, now 50,000, another all-star appearance, another 50-point game, whatever. Ain't my GOAT. I watch the game. I'm a student of the game. I know a GOAT when I see one. And he is a GOAT of this generation. But all time, it's Michael Jordan. That's who the hell it is. We don't.
All right, so Stephen A. Smith he stood firm with that sentiment for a long time. He's clearly an MJ fan, so am I, but I'm also a LeBron James fan, and I can't agree with Stephen A. Smith with saying that. LeBron is definitely a GOAT of this time, but Michael Jordan, to me, is the greatest player. You can disagree if you want. That's fair. But that's what it is. So it stemmed from that first. But then in addition to that, Stephen A. Smith has had plenty of comments about Bronny James and about how his lackluster performance on the court, which we can all agree, But, as a father, LeBron James just got to a point where he got tired of hearing it because Stephen A. Smith wouldn't lay off of it. But I have this video clip of Better Days. I don't know when this was. I don't know if Bronny was in the league already at this time, but Stephen A. Smith was recorded embracing Bronny. So let's get into that real quick. All right, so it's not like he's not on record embracing Bronny. But let's get straight to what happened recently. Recently, LeBron James was on the Pat McAfee show, which Pat McAfee is also associated with ESPN, and LeBron had some choice things to say. So let's get straight to that.
It started off with, I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Hey, well, you would be not to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you could address it, it's your ass. Like, seriously, and like another, he completely missed the whole point. The whole point. Never would I ever.
Let me just clarify what LeBron's talking about for those of you that aren't up to speed with this. Is he's talking about the fact that Stephen A. Smith couldn't wait to address the fact that LeBron approached him during a game while Stephen A. Smith was sitting courtside. So let's get back into it.
Not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job, to criticize or to, be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that is all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. And I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about him again. Oh my God, He's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tighty whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get a chance. But you're right.
Dude, like relax, bro. Like relax. Like seriously.
So
no, he literally.
Let me just say something. You know, some people have criticized LeBron for the fact that he approached Stephen A. Smith in that manner. They said to themselves, they're saying to themselves, well, why did he do that to Stephen A. Smith? You know, would he have done that to a Skip Bayless? You know, and I think that's a fair argument. Another thing that you gotta wonder is, why did LeBron, and this is a perfect example of how we don't, as a community, and I know some might say, oh, you're making it a race thing, but as a community, we don't support each other. Forget the fact that we never agree and we're not on the same page. Why did LeBron feel the need to give an exclusive interview to Pat McAfee? He could have gave an exclusive interview to Shannon Sharp, either on Club Shay Shay, or he could have did it on Nightcap, because we all know Club Shay Shay is a huge fan of LeBron James. Now, some might say he didn't do that because Shannon, yes, Shannon Sharp is also in a friendship with Stephen A. Smith. He also works alongside Stephen A. Smith on First Take, so maybe that would have been a conflict of interest. But then again, it's the same thing. He's doing an exclusive interview with Pat McAfee, who's also associated with ESPN. So, you know, I don't know. I felt like LeBron could have, and people have said that also. They're like, why didn't LeBron give somebody else an exclusive interview? He could have gave somebody a podcast, someone up and coming podcast, an opportunity to interview him and get that exclusive content. But he chose to go with Pat McAfee. So some people are looking at LeBron like, you know, some of his decisions are just very questionable. But as I continue, Stephen A. Smith responded to that particular interview clip that I showed you, and let's get into it.
Tidy Whitey's comment was funny because I don't wear tidy Whiteys. Let you figure out why that is. LeBron James is full of it. And in this particular instance, as it pertains to his son, he is a liar. And he went on national television today and he lied again. It was during the third quarter. It was fresh out of a timeout. It was him walking to the basketball court. It was on national television. The cameras were rolling. And had I done something, what do y'all want me to do? You want me to act? You want this to be a reincarnation of Chris Rock and Will Smith? And let me state for the record that while we bring up that, let me assure you it wouldn't have gone down like that. I would have gotten my ass kicked, because had that man put his hands on me, I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately. That I'm not going to tolerate.
All right, so following that, you know, LeBron had to respond. And in LeBron fashion, I believe this was on his Twitter, LeBron posted this. Let's get into it.
Yeah, make it more free. Yeah, push. Clean up that cut more. Raise him up.
So basically, LeBron is poking fun at the boxing skills, the lack of boxing skills of Stephen A. Smith. We just go through it one more time.
Make it more free. Yeah, push. Clean up that cut.
Listen, it is what it is. Stephen A. Smith is a journalist slash TV personality. He's not a boxer, so I don't expect him to punch like Crawford. But anyway, this is a clip of some athletes, former professional players. This is Felton, that used to play on the New York Knicks as a point guard, speaking on the whole ordeal. Let's get into it.
You got really disrespectful this time.
You said Bronny was better than half the players in the NBA. You said, if you want me, you should draft my son, because I would do anything to play with my son for a year. That's not saying that Bronny's bad. The expectations that have been put on Bronny were LeBron's. Stephen Smith said, my problem isn't with Bronny, it's with you, LeBron, because you said these things.
The Philly game, Bronny played in Philly. He was bad. You can't get mad at Stephen A. for talking about that. The way he said it could have been completely different. He was like, Bron got to stop this shit, blah, blah, blah. That's crazy. You're in the NBA. You're not exempt for getting talked about because you're LeBron James' son. It's just the way he said it rubbed Bron the wrong way.
maybe I didn't want to make a phone call. And maybe
Yeah.
that's the first time I saw Stephen A. Smith to approach him in person. And maybe he just blinked. And I'm going to check you now. Like, hey, bro, like, watch how you talk about my son.
Bit of timeout.
In that situation, I said, you know what? Fuck it. Yo, watch what the fuck you saying.
You got...
So what do you all think? Do you agree with the Stephen A. Smith stance, or do you agree with LeBron's stance? Either way you look at it, I just think that, again, it just shows us, and it shows the younger generation, that a lot of the childish behaviors that take place in junior high school and high school, it persists even when you're an adult. You know, it's showing that adults, and again, it's also showing what I promised that I would show at the end of every clip. As a matter of fact, let me get that right now. One moment. By the way, if you hear any type of banging and knocking, again, it's courtesy of my neighbors. All right? Or should I say neighbor upstairs. You know, welcome to New York as always. Welcome to New York. You hear the banging, the dragging of the furniture. That's New York. But as I promised, on select videos, select episodes, I'm going to play Candace Owen to wrap it up. So
it's a broken culture, it's a broken society, and hip hop is hurting things. But I also want to talk to you about something I've realized. Even if Black Americans are aware and know their history, right? And you can get Black conservatives who understand the history much more, who understand, you know, the ills of the left and what the left has done. But still, in that regard, they bring to the conservative side the same bad habits that I was hoping Black conservatives would be abandoning. And what I'm talking about, number one, is conflict resolution. Black Americans do not know how to resolve basic conflicts. Everything has to turn into a fight. I hate you forever. You got to draw lines. It's like you're this gang or that gang. And you still see it happening in politics.
Mm-hmm. All right. So clearly this is not about gang members feuding. All right. But at the end of the day, what Candace Owens had to say is still relevant, because conflict resolution within our community is like non-existent. All right. We got LeBron James, I believe he's damn near a billionaire. Stephen A. Smith, who knows how much he's making, but he's doing very well for himself. And they just can't seem to hash it out respectfully as grown men, you know, to make better examples of what Black grown men are capable of doing as far as conflict resolution. But that's my take on it. How do you all feel about how this is transpiring? Oh, one other thing I have to mention that I didn't queue up. Stephen A. Smith at one point went on a rant and said that LeBron James skipped out on Kobe Bryant's memorial. And he also went on to say, you know, he didn't show up to a ceremony for Dwayne Wade. It turns out that he was wrong. He apologized for that. He was wrong because LeBron James did in fact attend the Kobe Bryant Memorial, but Stephen A. Smith apologized for misspeaking on that part of it, but he ended his statement, which I believe was on Twitter, which is known as X now. He recanted that, apologized for that. He apologized for it on X as well as on, I believe, First Take, and then he just concluded by, but I stand on everything else that I said, which again is showing the younger generation behind us that even as grown men, we still lack resolution skills, as Candace Owen pointed out. So again, that's my take on it. You know, as far as my thoughts on it, I think that both of them have point of views that I could respect. So in some instances, I could lean with Stephen A. Smith, and in other instances, I could lean with LeBron James. So I can't really call it. It's safe to say this is going to continue to be ongoing, unless behind the scenes they get on the phone with each other, hash it out, and then they finish it. But I don't foresee that, and I don't foresee this ending anytime soon. I don't know about any of you all, But again, if you have any thoughts on this, by all means, I'll see you in the comments. We can talk about it further. But that's all I have for today. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.